Hello and welcome to another strategy video for Gears of War 4's Horde mode. This time I'm going to be detailing the Heavy class. Now, the Heavy class is a very important class to have for team play, not so much for solo play. I talked about this in the Engineer video. I think the Engineer is the best class for solo play, but if you want to shake things up just for the sake of trying different things and having a little fun, certainly you can attempt to play solo with the Heavy class. So let's start with that. When I play solo with the Heavy, I roll with the loadout that you see on the screen here. The Explosive Launcher Capacity Boost, the Explosive Launcher Damage Boost. Now the point of those two, you spawn with a boom shot on your back as the Heavy, right? So instead of having 6 rounds, you're going to have 12 or more rounds. And you're going to do a lot more damage based on the level of your cards. You can see I'm at 4 there. Haven't quite got that one up to 5 just yet. But I like to keep those 2 cards handy because that's your starting weapon, right? You're always going to have it unless you swap it out or something, but why would you? And if you're playing solo, sometimes there's going to be times when you need to be mobile, right? You're the main target out there, unless you've got decoys and things like that. But since you don't have the double power on pickup that the Scout has, and you don't have the deep discounts on fortifications that the Engineer has, you're going to have to rely on yourself a little bit more than you would be able to rely on those fortifications, just because you're going to have less money to buy them with. And you're not going to be as prepared or as efficient to repair them because you won't spawn with a repair tool, and even if you buy one, it costs 5 grand, and you're going to do it really slow, and it costs a lot of money, right? So relying on the tools that are free and on you all the time, like your boom shot, I think is critical. Now the Heavy weapon damage card in the middle, that one's great because there are a lot of free weapons out there on the battlefield that come from the bigger enemies, such as Guardians, right? They drop the R4 Salvo, which is a hugely helpful weapon to pick up. And being able to do extra damage out of those things is really going to play to the strengths of your class, and it's going to make you able to do the most damage in the shortest amount of time, right? Which is important when you're the only person out there on the field. When you're playing by yourself, you don't have anybody else watching your back. Maybe it's even early enough where you just simply can't afford a decoy at the moment. Who knows? Being able to do a ton of damage with those free weapons, I think, is key. So, Mark Damage is the next card I've got equipped, and my thinking on that is this. I've heard people say that Mark Damage isn't important. I don't know why some people think that, but I've heard it time and time again. Honestly, I feel like if you're shooting at an enemy already, you may as well mark it and get a free damage boost. That's just the way that I'm looking at this, and it applies to any weapon, right? Whatever you're holding, as long as you mark the enemy, you're going to do a damage boost, whether you've got another boost applied for damage or not. And then the last thing, of course, is turret damage. I think that if you're playing solo, you're going to definitely have 1 or 2 of those things back at your base. That's what you're going to want to prioritize putting your money into at first. So being able to do more damage out of that thing is going to be important. So, of course, that's a go-to card. Playing on a team, honestly, I use the same layout. I don't change any of these, really. I know that there is some question over how useful the Mortar Strike card is, and also the pistol damage. And it's a little misleading, especially the pistol damage one. They're both purple skill cards, so there's this idea that because they're more rare in the gear packs that somehow they're more valuable or useful. And I just don't think that that's true in the case of either of those, really. If you're playing on a team, you've likely got a soldier who has the Hammer of Dawn card equipped, and even if you don't, that's okay. I still probably wouldn't take the mortars with me anyway, just because you're going to want to prioritize using turrets and the weapons that the heavy enemies drop, such as the R4 Salvo that I mentioned, right? I just think you're going to get better return on equipping other skill cards instead of that Mortar Strike. But if you want to have it just to have it on and be able to occasionally use it, more power to you. The pistol, again, I don't use it because I feel like I never equip my pistol when I'm out there as the heavy. If I've got my pistol out, it's because I'm making my last stand, right? Or I'm trying to help out with the headshot bonus rounds maybe. But even then, that's not frequent enough to make that worth giving up the card slot to that card. I think it's more important to have any of those other 5 equipped over the pistol damage one. I just think the instances where I pull it out are too few and far between, rather, to make it worthwhile. Okay, so there you go. That's my take on the heavy class for both solo and team play. If you're interested in the soldier class, scout class, or engineer class, I've got videos on those up on my channel as well, so check those out. Good luck to you out there, and hopefully we'll cross paths.